This is a trigger warning from the Kandid Shop Podcast. On this episode, we will be discussing domestic or intimate partner violence. I want all of you to be aware of what you can and can't handle when listening to this episode. Take care of your mental and emotional health. Thank you.
Let's get into it. Welcome to the Kandid Shop. We speaking on things you not. Just press play and let it rock. Hey, welcome to the Kandid Shop. Whoa, welcome to the Kandid Shop. We speaking on things you not. Just press play and let it rock. Hey, welcome to the Kandid Shop. Oh, feel like we going through mad things. Gotta keep it real when they choose not. We gon' talk about it when the news drop. Welcome to the show where you know we don't fake this. Keep your opinion to yourself if it don't make sense.
Hey, podcast family, it's your girl, Candidly Kristen, and this is the Kandid Shop, your number one destination for candid conversations. October is Domestic Violence, or as they're now calling it, Intimate Partner Awareness Month. And I have the absolute pleasure of sitting down with Miss AnnDena McCleary, author of Bent Not Broken, Rebirth of a Domestic Violence Survivor, and the founder of Bent Not Broken, Inc. AnnDena's personal motto is turning pain into power. So I want to welcome AnnDena to the Kandid Shop. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. It's indeed a pleasure to be your guest tonight. It's indeed. I've been
Oh my.
looking forward to this since April.
Okay, I was just about to say it's been like months since we
I
first
know.
connected, and then I went on hiatus because I was burnt out. But I am so glad that we are able to get this chat done and in this month, because this is a topic that is globally important and personally important to me, because I am a domestic violence intimate partner, whatever they calling it now, survivor and thriver. So let's get right into it. I have a few stats I'd like to share before we get into the meat of our chat. So it's a lot of stats, so I'm only going to read a few of them, but the most important one is, on average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. So what that equates to is, in 1 year, more than 10 million women and men are abused by an intimate partner. 1 in 7 women and 1 in 25 men have been injured by an intimate partner. 19% of domestic violence involves a weapon, and only 34% of people who are injured by intimate partners receive medical care for their injuries. Now, those stats are frightening, and as a survivor, I know that behind those numbers are real people experiencing real trauma. So, Miss McCleary, can you, if you would, share your story with me and my listeners?
Oh, well, my story goes way back, but it would take us forever and a day. But in the meet and greet of it, I remember my domestic violence started out verbally at
Mm-hmm.
first, because with my son's father, it was verbally. It was never abuse. It was more verbally and
Okay.
financial abuse. I moved away from Florida to New York, and I mean, well, back in Florida, it was spitting, and grabbing, and pushing, and but you know, and
Mm-hmm.
talk down and financial. So I moved away from Florida to New York with my newborn,
Okay.
with my son, and I started life, entered the shelter, and lived there for 3 months. Move on out into my own apartment. Thought things was on top of the world because I got a good job at this prestige law firm. Everything was going good.
Okay.
My mother got sick, and a blast from the past occurred.
Okay.
And he was my high school sweetheart when I was in Jamaica.
And you know
So,
what? I was just about to say, where's that accent? I was trying to place it. So Jamaica. Okay.
yes, he's a blast from the past. That's what I called him. And He was trying to reach out for me for like a whole year. We was talking online and I was telling him like, I don't want nobody. I'm in a position in my life where I'm okay. I was physically and mentally okay,
Okay.
you know. And then my mother got sick and work and my son at the time was like 4
Okay.
and it was just so much.
Right.
So eventually, he moved from Connecticut and moved in with me. Well, he moved with his aunt first, and even though we was going back and forth, and eventually he was everything I needed. My
Right.
mom came home from the nursing home. I was at work. He was at home helping my mom, my son get off the school bus,
Right.
cooking, meeting me, taking my. It was everything that I dreamed of.
Right.
The drinking signs was there, the demanding signs was there, but hey, he's everything a girl wanted.
Right.
Everything. He cooks, he cleans, he do
Right.
everything that I needed a man to do in my life, and that's exactly what he
Right.
did.
Uh,
And
Until it
um,
wasn't.
fast forward until we decide we're gonna get married. And I remember my house. I was doing some renovation on the house, and it was Father's Day, and he came to the house, 2019, and he was so drunk.
Mm.
He was drunk to the point where he couldn't even stand up.
Wow.
That was before we got married, and got into an argument, and he take his necklace and he beat me like I was his child. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
He begged and he pleaded, we got back together, got
Hmm.
married, got pregnant, and the abuse didn't even get better, got worse.
Right.
And it got to the point where the drinking and the smoking, he wasn't working. I held it down for 2 years to us, and it was just to the point where I just I didn't have a voice in my house.
Right. Right.
If I said, I was often wonder, am I saying the right thing? Am I doing the right thing?
Right.
Did I cross my eyes? Did I
Hmm.
dot my T's? I was just confused in my head. It's
Hmm.
like, I don't want to make the wrong thing. I don't want to do the wrong thing. I
Right.
don't want to walk in the wrong way. I don't want to say the wrong things. I don't want to do the wrong nothing just so I could anger him some more.
Right.
When I cook, he would never eat. He said I didn't earn
Mm.
the privilege of cooking for him. So basically, when I cooked, I have to order food for him.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I'm there spending like $200 $300 a day in food when there's food in the house.
Wow.
Just because my son had a bond with him and my son wanted that father figure,
Yeah.
even though the argument, the abuse was there, I was just like, okay, 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 it's gonna get better. But it didn't.
Right.
Until one day I remember he asked me for money and I said, no, I don't have it. And he said, yes, you do. And I said, I don't have it. And it becomes an argument. And the next thing I know, I heard my son crying, Mommy, Mommy, please don't die.
Oh wow.
If you die, who's going to take care of me? And then next thing I felt was a whole splash of water thrown on me. When I wake up, open my eyes, it was me and my son. I was bleeding from my head, my nose, and from down below. I
Oh
was
wow.
so battered, and we didn't go to the hospital the same day because I
Okay.
didn't want my son was in there, and the law is once there's a child in the house and there's domestic violence, he's
Yes.
going to be removed.
Yes.
And my son is my world. I didn't want my child to be removed. So I muscled up and I stayed there, and I was getting, my whole body was getting black, like I was poisoned or something. I don't know. And I remember I went to the hospital because I couldn't bear the pain no more, and I had a stillbirth. My
So sorry.
placenta was separated from the wall. I had a placental abruption.
Mm.
Then, he was still in the house. He moved away. He came back. We was still there. The house was separated. I remember one day I was coming home. I came home from work, and he just sucker punched me my in the side of my head, and I went down and I got back up. And he took the pot and he beat me so bad. I used my hand to shield my head, and he kept grabbing and grabbing, and I tried to escape and I ran and I managed to escape. ran through the door thinking that he wouldn't come after me. He ran outside, he took his belt off, and he slashed me like I was his child, punched me dead in the face, and damaged my retina.
Oh
I
my
did
goodness.
5 surgery on my eyes, and it would never be the same. And you know what? I went back in the house and I just passed out. And my son came in from school and saw me there. And he said, Mommy, he's going to kill you. He's going to kill you, Mommy. He was 8 years old at the time.
So was
And
that the moment that you said, "This is it. I can't do this
well,
anymore"?
not the same day, yes, but not at that moment. I remember he
Right.
went away and came back drunk.
Right.
And I said to him, please, I don't want to drink in the house with my child. And my child was standing in front of me and said, come on, mommy, let's come. And he took the can of beer and he threw it and he went right past my son's face. That was it. I took my phone up and I went outside with my son and I called his aunt and I said, come and take him out my house.
Right.
I called his sister, I called everybody, and I called my friend, and she came and she picked up my son and myself. We went to her house. She had a 1 bedroom at the time. She was renting a room, and it was me and her, my son, and her daughter in that one room.
Wow.
And when I came back home, she kept my son, and he said, "No, I want to go home." And we came home. When I came home, he packed up some of his things and he left for probably
Okay.
about 2 weeks.
Okay.
And when he left, my son said, "Mommy, remember what Dad said?" Because my son called him Dad. He said,
Right.
"I'm going to kill you and I'm going to wrap you in a sheet and I'm going to put you in the basement and I'm going to live up here. Better yet, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to leave you in the bed and I'm going to sleep right next to you."
Wow.
My son reminded me that I went and I jammed the windows, all the windows, so even if you can't come in,
Right.
and I changed the locks on the door, changed
Oh,
the locks on the door, and I fixed it up. And I
so
remember he came back to the house and I said, "I want you to get F off my property." And he want his clothes. And I said, "You embarrassed me in front of the whole neighbors. I'm embarrassed you." So I throw all his clothes out on the lawn.
yeah.
And so good. The lockdown came like a day. 2 days after I put him out, March
Okay.
11th was the lockdown.
Okay.
It was the most dark period of my life. I lay there in despair, lost a child in despair. My son was sad. I was sad. All I thought was suicide. All I thought was dead. I didn't feel worthy. I was just so depressed. And I lay there. My son used to just pray for me. He said, "God, let my mommy smile."
Oh, God bless him. So what was your turning point from despair to when did you turn that pain into power?
June 6th, 2020.
Nice. In the
I
midst
laid
of the
there
pandemic.
in the middle of the pandemic.
Yep.
My mother caught COVID. She went into a coma again, and my world turned upside down. And I'm just laying there, didn't know what to do with myself. My son said, "God, help my mommy to forgive my dad. Help my mommy, please, God." And he went to sleep. And I lay there, and I didn't even cry. I bawled.
Right.
And when I just roll over, and most of the book is text messages that I had sent him.
To the husband.
Yes, so
Or
we
to
was together. Some
okay.
part of all the back part of the book were texts. And
Wow.
I just lay in the bed and I just wrote my book that night.
Wow.
And then in the morning, June 6th, I said, "God, I'm bent. I'm not broken,
Mm.
but I'm not broken."
Yep.
And then I said, I reached out to a friend who told me how to get an organization, not for profit, and
Okay.
that I did. But it was bent but not broken, and I
Okay.
changed it to bent, not broken.
Got it.
In
Got
June
it.
20, July 29th, I released my first book. I opened my first shelter in January 2021.
Nice.
I opened my second shelter in December 2021. I released my second book. February 2022.
Now, wait. I know about the first book. What's the second book?
How I'm masking pain.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna make sure we put that in the show notes so people can get it. Because I didn't know there was a second book.
Yes, and there's a third book coming.
I'm sure. I'm so sure. Now, listen. Let me ask you this: in all of that time that you were going through this, did you ever once call the cops or report him?
I did. They came 4 hours later.
Um. Okay.
He was already gone.
Okay. All right. So one of my questions was, what would you say is the number one reason people don't report domestic violence?
Fear and lack of response from the police officers.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Fear.
Got it. So,
I know it's a lot. It's heavy, and I remember somebody said to me, "You talk about it like it's nothing." I said, "When I talk about it, I close my eyes. You never see me do a motivational speaking with my eyes open.
okay.
I always close my eyes and I talk about it. I've made peace with the situation."
Right.
And I tell somebody I could talk about it, I'm not crying about it. It's
Right.
because I've acknowledged it, I have accepted, and I'm walking in my truth.
Right. Right. So what kind of support did you get on
None.
your journey to hit okay.
Well, let me not say that. Let me backtrack that. I have my long distance cousin. I have my cousin and them in Jamaica. I have my aunt.
Okay.
I have my aunt in Jamaica, and my aunt and my two cousins played a vital role. When I say a vital role, I mean there was, even though there was a fire, and then my aunt came to visit in November, and when my aunt came, it was like a breath of fresh air in the house.
Right.
She took off because I had the house covered in black. The mirror was covered. The house was so heavy. When she came, she take off everything.
Mm-hmm. Cleared out all that energy. Mm-hmm.
She cleared it up. She cleaned it up. We went shopping. She did a whole bunch of stuff.
Nice.
And my friend that lives in Connecticut, I can't leave her out. She took her time and she said, "This is not you. Your house is always clean and on point." And they clean and she throw away the stuff because I had the stuff packed up in boxes, in bags. I was living out of bags. And my son, and my son was so depressed, and he decided he wants to go to Jamaica with my aunt. Here we are. He's still living in Jamaica as of today date.
Okay. So talk to me about the first book, The Bent Not Broken. My question was going to be why you chose that title, but you already mentioned that. But when you wrote that book, did you envision it becoming the Bent Not Broken organization, or was it just your way of healing by getting that stuff out and on paper?
Well, Ben Not Broken was from 2000. I was going through some stuff back back then,
Okay.
and in 20, I think it was way before my son was probably like a year old,
Okay.
and a book came to my mind, Bent but not broken.
Got it.
And 28, I never even kept think about it. It was like, okay, well, whatever. So in 2020, when all of this started, it's like God have a way of working things out.
Mm-hmm.
The title of the organization just popped up, Bent Not Broken.
Mm-hmm.
Bent but not broken. When I did the book, I didn't know I was going through so much, or I have endured so much. See, I was molested as a child by my stepfather.
Okay. Same.
So I didn't know that I've been through so much. I've endured so much until I read my book.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was writing my book never had it. It was just me writing.
Right.
And when I gave it to my publicist, I said to her, through this all. all ordeal. When she read it, she called me crying. I said, "Why are you crying?" She said, "I don't know how to name the. I don't know what to do with the book." I said, "The book is called Bent, Not Broken: The Rebirth of a Domestic Violence Survivor." She said,
Mm,
"Why? What you mean?" I said, "Because I have been reborn.
mm-hmm.
I am not hurting as how I'm hurting in the past.
Right.
That's my past.
Right.
My book can help somebody to be rebirth."
Yes.
So that's how the name came about.
Nice. So when you decided to turn Bent Not Broken from a book to an organization, what was your vision for the Bent Not Broken organization?
Turning your pain into power.
Got it.
It's where you're hurting, but it's not going to last forever. You don't sit there in self pity. You get up, shake it off, and proceed and turn it in. Let your abuser know that, listen, you might tear me down, but I'm coming back stronger than ever. I'm powerful. Because, see,
Yes.
we are all powerful human beings.
Yes.
And we give too much credit to our abuser. They can't take. You see, we accept what we allow people to give us.
Yes.
We're going to tap into our power a little bit and embrace our power. So when Turn Your Pain into Power came, I merely mirror my life through Bend Not Broken, because
Okay.
I turn my pain into power, and I let my pain portray and let everybody see, listen, she was once in the shelter. She was once a domestic violence victim, and look
Hmm.
how she overcome. You know,
Nice. So tell me what you want the world to know about Bent Not Broken Inc. as an organization. What do you guys do? What do you offer?
okay. So Bend Not Broken Inc. right now, it's an organization that's here to rehabilitate domestic violence victims. I don't like the word victims. I rather
Me
say
either.
overcomers.
Overcomers,
We're
yes.
all overcomers. So Ben Broken, he's here to assist domestic violence overcomers to find themselves again. We're not a gender based first group. We cater for both men and women
Hmm.
and of the opposite sex too. We are not close minded because male do get abused.
I was going to say that. I wanted to ask you how many of the people that come that you see through your organization are men. Like,
Yeah, we get
okay,
men. I just did a
okay,
counseling session earlier with a man.
okay.
They just be afraid to come forward because they see stereotypical, they are being labeled.
Yes.
They're going to be labeled, so they tend to hold it in.
Hmm.
But we are a liaison between the help and you. Because
Got
typically, when you go into the shelter and you come out, you don't get that resource to rehabilitate yourself.
it. Yes.
So we tend to go back either in the shelter or we tend to go back to our abusers.
Hmm.
And then people are going to be like, see why I don't help. But no, most abuses cause from because of
Yes.
financial abuse, because we depend solely, I'm not just saying, but in general, we
Yes.
depend solely on financially on our significant other, and that's their power tactics.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's their power tactics. So they use it against us. So
Yep.
because they know that we lack certain resources, you know, to help ourselves,
Yes.
they use that to their advantage. And then the city does not give us the tool to educate ourselves and understand that there are more. You can move beyond that. Don't settle right there. Move on. So
Hmm.
Ben Not Broken is here offering that service where we teach you how to be financially independent. We teach resume skills.
Okay.
We teach different aspects. We teach you how to do interviews. We teach you how to sell yourself, not in
Hmm.
that typical, not in that way, but
I
how to
got you.
sell yourself on an interview or whatever.
I
You know what
got
I
you.
mean? So that's what we do. And then, we're having this brunch on the 29th of October.
Nice.
And the brunch is all proceeds go towards the helping to construct the restore center, and it would be where you get to know a little bit more about myself, the organization, and the different organization that is out there that provides tools to help.
Said you have two shelters.
Yes,
Are they all both in New York?
they are both upstate New York.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
Oh,
let's say three because the third one is for a man. Is our male shelter.
okay. Oh, okay.
So
There's a 100% male shelter.
100% domestic violence male, and I don't call them shelters. I hate that word. Let me
I
not say I
know.
like them. Just they are safe houses.
Safe houses. Okay. So there's that many men. Because
They,
whenever we hear about domestic violence, intimate partner violence, it's always, male against a female. But
you
in the
know,
stats, it's looking like a lot of guys are being abused, and
guys are being abused, and right now the statistics for for the LGBT community is just as easy.
mm,
It's just as
yeah,
right there as the men and women
yeah,
because it is so. You know what I mean? Because and I can't put the male with the female even though they have
right,
a different. I have
right,
to make sure I separate them. So
yeah,
there's one for them. I'm trying my best to get one here in Queens. I just acquired a building, so
right.
I'm working on. I will be working on it soon,
Okay,
but I have other focus right now.
got it. Oh man, you are busy, busy. I mean, this is so important, and I want to make sure that I get the 29th event information so I can put it in the show notes with the episode because this is going to go up before that event, and I want people to know about it and to be able to access it. What's on the horizon for AnnDena personally? What other projects, events? Because I want to put as much information out into the universe as I can for people that are going to hear this and are like, man, that sounds like a place that I could find help and support and love and no judgment. So what's in the pipeline for you?
Me personally,
Hmm. And for the organization, but you personally too.
personally, what do I do personally? Hmm. What do I do personally? I do have friends, I do have
Okay.
friends.
She said, I do have friends. It's not all work, but your work seems
Yeah,
so much a part
but
of
I
you.
work 90%. 90% of my time is consumed with work.
Got it. There's a huge need. Like, there's just not enough of you and people like you out there
Exactly.
providing support for people in these situations. So
Right before you, I had another radio interview, and right after you, I have a live.
I'm sure I know you busy, busy, but I am certainly going to make sure that people know about Bent Not Broken and the event that's coming up on the 29th.
Yeah, yeah, it's a brunch, and we have a guest speaker. She's coming in from Jamaica, and
Nice.
the tickets are $60. Why? Because it's not really a ticket. It's just a donation towards the resource center. Because, like
Yeah.
I said, we will be teaching resume building classes. We'll be teaching GED classes. We're going to be teaching a little bit of basic computer skills, a little bit how to do basic eyelashes, just
Okay.
stuff to help them get into maybe the HHA, how to get inside to be independent.
Yes.
There will be counseling on board. It's
Nice.
just to help them just to be me again.
Yes. Yep.
That's all it is. I did not get that resources
Right.
from nobody. I had to self-train myself, self-taught myself. So, and it's not as everybody will be like, oh my God, she's strong and she's strong. It's not as everybody's as tough as I am. And don't
Right.
get it wrong. Don't get it wrong. I have breakdown moments. I have breakdown moments. And I have breakdown moments where I just feel like I had to breathe. Like I said, I do have friends. Do they see me much?
No,
I
you're
try, no,
busy.
I'm gonna be honest. No, we call on the phone and we will talk, and I say, I'm
Yeah.
gonna call you back. And then I have one in particular in Connecticut. I don't even because that's my road. That's my road dog. She's been with me through thick and thin. She has, she never leave. She never leave. She's been there.
We all need
She's
that.
in my first book. She's
Okay.
been there. She never leave. And sometimes she said to me this morning, she went on WhatsApp and she posted my whole government and said, if anybody see my friend, tell her I'm looking for her.
Oh, that's when you know it's been too long since you called her.
Yeah, so I called her up and she's like, ah, You haven't come to my house. I said I was there in the summer. Oh, you
Mm,
usually be here every other weekend. Hmm. But that's when I know that I need to step away back some a
yeah,
little bit from
yeah.
work and and
And
make
take a
time. But
name. Yep.
Ben
So,
Not Broken is my baby. It's
mm-hmm.
my lifeline. And I am not gonna get reach everybody. I can't fix everybody.
Right.
But if I could fix one person, I
Yep.
think Ben Not Broken has done its job.
Absolutely. I'm
And
so
that's
sure
all
it
we're
has.
focused on.
So I got a question for you, ma'am. What about
Mhm.
your personal life?
I was
Are you
waiting.
are you dating? What's going on? Because
I
I
was
know.
day.
Listen,
I was waiting. I was
I
waiting. I was
I
waiting. Well, you have to wait for book number three.
okay, okay,
Okay, so let me clear that up a little bit.
okay,
I went to little synapse for the last 6.5 months.
okay,
I was with someone, and I it was good and little mishap, and he walked away,
okay.
and I went through a little bit of phase, a little depression phase, but I'm okay,
Okay.
So I'm saying, but book number three get all into that,
Okay.
but
Well, let me
no,
ask you this.
I've been single since March 27th.
Okay, okay.
After a year and a half, I've been single since March 27th.
So let me ask you this, because I know coming out of my abusive situations, I was real skittish with people, and the minute I saw anything that looked like something that used to be something, I was like, mm-mm,
Yeah.
gotta. So, do you find that when you're trying to relate to people and you see things that to you look like red flags just because of the history? Because I know I
Well,
did. I was seeing stuff that wasn't there, and dudes was like,
well,
"Ain't nobody trying to hit you. I was just fitting to hand you something." I'm like, "Oh, your hand came around too fast. I don't know."
I know, right? Wait. I'm in defense mode now. Well,
Oh,
I haven't experienced the tap into the out. Okay, my previous boyfriend is somebody that I used to date when I moved to New York before I got married.
okay,
So when we went our separate ways and I got married, when the marriage ended, we rekindled.
okay,
So it's somebody that I was familiar with and comfortable with. So I've made
okay,
up in myself that this time, we have decided is that that's it. That's it. We're not going to give it another try because I'm going somewhere else,
okay,
and where I'm going, I you don't want to go where I'm going, and
okay.
I'm saying to myself right now, it's time for me to tap outside into the outside world and stop resort to comfort
To
zones.
the comfort.
Because when you resort to comfort zone, you're telling yourself you're not enough.
Right.
You know what
Yes.
I mean? You're not enough. You're not worthy enough to go outside, tap into outside dating world.
To new people.
Me, I'm very open minded in dating.
Okay.
I am not going into a dating relationship and look and taking no baggage. And that's why sometimes when we start dating, we are flinching and we worried and we close the door for ourselves, is
Yes.
because we are not fully healed from the past. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So right now, no, I'm not dating. And yes, guys, I'm open to dating.
You heard that, y'all.
Myself and my son,
Okay.
but he got to give you the grill first because he
Yep.
wants to know what you're coming to the table with,
Absolutely.
and he will ask that question. How can you help my mommy?
How
But
now? How old is your son now?
he's 10 years old, going on
Oh,
1100.
yeah. Old soul. I
That's my
love it.
best friend. That's
I
that's
love it.
that's my voice of reasoning. No,
Mm.
we butt heads.
Yes.
Yes, we butt heads, and we put up fights, because at that age they're trying to be the
Yeah.
rebellion. But and I tell people, my son has a voice for himself,
Mm-hmm.
and my child has to be seen and heard. I don't shun my child into no corner.
Right.
My child there's a way to get your point across and be respectful about how you get it across.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my child, and
Period.
period, point blank. That's just what it is. But
Period.
no, I don't really have much of a personal life outside being not broken.
Okay.
because most of the times I'm in Albany and I'm in Queens, Albany, Queens, and when I do think it's time to lay down and go to sleep, my phone be ringing. So last night I went to bed at 2 a.m.
Oh,
and I was up back at 7 a.m. because in my safe houses is not like the regular government run facility.
okay.
Everybody come downstairs and have breakfast together. They're not isolated.
Nice.
They're allowed to socialize. They're not allowed to go in each other's space rooms, but they're allowed to be friends. Everybody watch TV in the TV area.
Mm-hmm.
I have somebody come and cook. They all partake. There's a library upstairs. There's a library upstairs. The computer room. I call it the library where I be on the big screen in the mornings, teaching resume classes,
Okay.
interview skills,
Okay.
and that's what I do
Right.
5 days a week. And when I also adopt a local shelter here in the community.
Okay.
So we did the Mother's Day brunch, we did the care packages, we did back to school. I don't know how Thanksgiving is going to go because I don't know where I'll be for Thanksgiving.
Right.
So, but
But
I'm already,
each of the houses will have a Thanksgiving.
yeah, well, all three upstate is all, everybody will have a Thanksgiving here in
Yeah.
my local shelter here that I have adopted and my personal shelters. They all will have Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. That's amazing. You are doing amazing, important work, ma'am. So
I'm not by
I personally want
myself.
to thank you because there was nothing available for me at the time I was going through what I was going through. It was just
Exactly.
like they was, but that was back when cops had to see somebody hit you in order for them to even believe you. So a lot has changed since then.
I didn't get help either because when the cops came, he was gone and they did a report and that was it.
And that
Nobody
was
called
that.
me after that.
Right,
Nobody
right.
follow up. And I know what it feels. I know how I felt alone.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something. People, and let me go back a little bit. Domestic violence not only affects you, it affects your children.
Absolutely.
My son has been in Jamaica over a year. And it's not that he didn't because he don't love me. He loves me with all his heart. It affected him
Yes.
so bad that he didn't want to come home to that house. So I had to sold that house. He
Okay.
didn't want to come home to that house. He don't want to be in that house. He don't want to be around that house.
Too much pain for you. He didn't want to see you hurting. Oh wow. Well, hopefully you get to see him often. That you
Oh,
get to
he was
travel.
just here in the summer. Yes, he was here
Nice,
in the summer. And he was here. He liked Jamaica very much. He got friends down there. He
nice.
likes his school. We talk every day, and we
Yeah.
have a good We're building a relationship. We're building.
Trauma free.
Exactly. And people have the concept of why did you let him go? He's a child. He don't have nothing. You don't understand. I cannot police how my child handle his hurt.
Right.
I can't tell him how to hurt. And that's where we have the wrong concept. We want to tell even ourselves. We're trying to tell ourselves how we must feel and how the timeline and how we must hurt and the timeline and how we must come out and say,
Yeah.
we have been abused. There is no timeline for nothing.
Right.
There is no
Everybody
timeline for
different.
nothing.
And
It's
you had to be the best you for him. So
exactly.
it's hard to heal with your kids around because it'd be nights you just want to bawl your eyes out, but you don't want to hear your kids to hear that. So you kind of suck it up. So I get it. My kids
Mhm,
stayed with my mother for a few months while I
mhm,
had to work on me and get to be the
mhm,
best person I could be. And
mhm.
then we could reunite without all of that pain and hurt and drama and trauma. So yeah, I get it. So listen, we are at the part of the chat where I do some fun stuff, and it's called
Okay.
10 Candid Questions. I'm going to ask you 10 totally random questions, and you answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. Some of them
Mhm.
are yes or no. Some of them, you got to give a little meatier
Okay.
answer, but it's a fun way to wrap up the chat and for people to get to know you. And the last question the 10th question is always the same, and that's how can my listeners connect with you? But that's the 10th question. You
Okay.
ready?
Yep.
First question is, what is your biggest pet peeve?
Ah, it all depends. I don't know if I have none of that.
What's your biggest one? Like the thing that you just be like, oh.
I know I have none of that. I'm always all. Let's come back to that one.
All right, all right. Question number 2. What do people misunderstand about you the
That I'm
most?
aggressive.
Oh, that was easy.
Yep.
That you're aggressive. All right.
Mhm.
Dogs or cats?
Ooh, I have I have a Maltese, Marshall.
Mm, nice. What's your favorite curse word?
Oh Jesus. Ooh. I'm a
Me
F
too,
bomb
girl.
kind of girl.
Yes, yes. God, sometimes it just fits. It's all
It
you
just
can
fly out
say.
unexpectedly.
Coffee or tea?
Will you black no sugar, me please?
Nice. Night owl or morning person?
I'm a night owl.
Ah.
Yeah.
Um, what's one question you wished I'd asked you during this chat, and what would your answer have been?
Do I know how to love?
Ah, nice. And what would your answer have been?
I'm working on it.
Okay. Okay. Now we're going back to what's your biggest pet peeve?
Elaborate a little bit on that one because I got so much in my
Like,
head jumbling.
so my biggest pet peeve is liars. I don't like lying or people that lie. Like that grates my nerves so bad. And I'm like, I know
Yeah.
you lying, right?
And
Okay.
I just let you just lie. I hate liars. And I just watch you just lie and I wait until you get done. And I said, I know you ass lie.
Like why lie? I know you lying, right?
I just wait until they finish the whole story and I said, I know you're a lying ass. And I'm
Oh my,
done.
yes. I'm done with the
Yeah.
lie. I can't do liars.
That's
All right.
why I said I have a lot.
I, I bet. All right. If you could go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Love yourself enough.
Mm, I love
Love
it.
yourself enough.
All right. And what is one piece or two of advice that you want to give to anybody that hears this who's in a domestic violence situation?
Get out. If he say he's gonna kill you and he missed, he's not gonna miss the second time.
That's a word. Yeah, that was good. Oh my gosh. And the 10th question, how can my listeners connect with you and Bent Not Broken?
Okay, so you could find Ben Not Broken on www.bentnotbrokeninc.org. That's our official website. We're on Instagram at Ben Not Broken Inc. We're
Okay.
also on Facebook, Bent Not Broken by AnnDena McCleary. And our email is bentnotbroken.online@gmail.com. And
Okay.
all those platforms, you will find my personal, well, Bent Not Broken contact number. If
Okay.
you want, I could even list it, but you can find everything there. I do respond to all my messages. I do respond to all my. I don't hide. I'm blink of an eye away.
Okay. All right. And listen, guys, that all of her information, the information to get her books, the information to the website for help will be in the show notes and she'll just be a click away. So, and Dina, listen, first of all, I am so glad that you're here, still here, living, breathing, thriving, doing what you do. The world needs you, like a trillion of you, but right now we got just you. So I'm
Yeah,
personally grateful for the work that you
thank you.
do. I really,
Well,
really
it's
am.
not just me now. I have to big up my assistant, Carrie.
Okay. Hi,
Carrie
Candy.
Gale, I have to love Carrie. Let me tell you something. I often tell people that Carrie is the boss, and she'd be looking at me like, "Why you keep saying that?" Because I could just have an idea in my head, and I would just be like, "Oh, this is what I want to get done," and I didn't see the vision yet, but it's just a random thought in my head, and
Right.
when she's done, it's a vision.
It's a whole thing.
So I
Okay.
publicly want to thank Carrie Gale. I want to thank you so much from the depths of my heart. I couldn't, beg not broken, couldn't and wouldn't have been where it is without you. You're a true gem.
Oh, that is awesome because a lot of times people forget that there's support behind them, and that's an amazing public shout out. So, God bless Gary. Oh, this was awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for sharing your time, your story, your experience. It can't be easy to share that story over and over because I know everybody asks you over and over.
Yes,
Um,
they do.
with me and my listeners, I think that when this goes out to the world on every podcast platform available, because that's where it'll be, that it's somebody is going to get help. Somebody's going to get healed and helped and whole and free. And that's what I'm here for, to put information out there. So thank you.
And I really, really thank you. I'm so grateful to be on the show. And like I said to everyone, we have the concept of domestic violence is just hitting, it's not hitting only, talking down financial, emotion, mental.
Yeah.
If he's talking down to you and he's isolating you and he's
Yeah.
letting you feel less than a person, you need to question yourself. Do I need this?
Yes.
And one last quote, because this is, like I said, I'm working on book 3 and book 4, but I think book 4 going to be ready. Book 4 is an affirmation book. Because,
Nice.
see, I have to affirm myself every day.
Every
And it's
day.
one thing I want to let all survivors know and those who are going through their own abuse in silence. You are worthy,
Yes.
you are beautiful,
Yes.
and you are more than enough.
Yes.
When you could tell yourself all of this, look yourself in the mirror. Get up every day and celebrate you. Put on a little bit of lip gloss, a little bit of
Mm.
makeup, and look at yourself and smile. I am beautiful. I am worthy. And watch how your day goes from a frown to a smile.
Yes. I love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. Now,
Not a
listen, y'all.
problem.
Everyone deserves to be in a relationship or relationships that are free from violence of any kind. So if you're listening, please know that when you're ready, help and support is available 24/7. The domestic violence hotline is 1-800-799-7233. Again, that's 1-800-799-7233. Or if you're not ready to talk, you can text START to 88788. People are out there willing and ready to help you.
Yes, we are.
All right. And all AnnDena's contact info, her website address, all of that is going to be in the show note when the episode airs in a week. I'm going to do my editing magic and make it sound amazing, and then it'll go out. But until the next time, Podcast Nation, I want you guys to keep it safe, keep it healthy, and keep it candid.
Last night I heard the screaming, loud voices behind the wall. Another sleepless night for me, it won't do no good to call the police. Always come late if they come at all. And when they arrive, they say they can't interfere with domestic affairs between a man and his wife. And as they walk out the door, the tears well up in her eyes.